Arson fans, welcome back to episode 3 of Hot Tag. That's right, guys. We're finally back. I know we're maybe like a week later than what we wanted to be. Work schedules came up, as it will happen, but we wanted to get back to you guys.
Well, the other thing is the Arson brothers' pay ain't that great, so
it's not.
So I mean, we need to talk to Arson Dad Matt about that.
Yeah, we need our envelope. We need our envelope.
I need my hot dog.
A hot dog would be very good.
Yeah.
No, but we just wanted to come back at you guys with a little bit more tag team talk because that's what we love. We got a lot lined up on the agenda for today. So I guess we could just dive right in, honestly.
Hey, let's do it.
And first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about some news.
Hey, as always, it's what we do. We get in the news.
This past weekend in Kingsport, Tennessee, at NWA Smoky Mountain Collision Course, what I believe you're probably going to agree with me here. At the moment, the tag team feud of the year took another step as the Ugly Ducklings defeated the Heatseekers for the NWA US tag titles. So I mean, we got to talk about that. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, these guys are wrestling each other everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a company not named WWE that these guys aren't wrestling in right now?
Not to my knowledge.
Well, not to mention, our man Sigmund wrestling for TNA, Ring of Honor, and all that stuff. But these teams are feuding with each other everywhere. I mean, we've got this. I know people will probably say this is a bit extreme, but we may have the makings of another rock and roll midnight thing going on here, brother, because these guys are wrestling each other everywhere. And in my opinion, it's the hottest feud, not just in tag team wrestling right now, but maybe in wrestling, period.
I love it. Yeah, you're right. A few weeks ago at WVCW somewhere, we had a match with them, and things broke down pretty quick. And it started out in a crazy brawl. We saw, brawling all around the arena, and they set up what's going to be at Miracle on the Mountain, June 3rd, as a Duck House Brawl match. But I mean, that's not even close to all the story of this feud as we saw just this past weekend. Yeah. And you're right. You're talking about like we might be seeing the beginnings of a new classic rivalry. All the elements are there because much like the Rock and Roll Express in the '80s found a way to connect with every fan in the arena. That's what the Ugly Ducklings do when they come out. They connect with every fan in that arena. Everybody's out there doing the quack, quack, quack. Coach Mikey leading them on, and then you've got the Heatseekers who are just perennial tag team specialists and so good at working the opposite side of that and making the crowd hate them. Yeah,
I mean they're just like the Midnights in that you love to hate them.
Yeah,
right. The crowds hate them, but they respect them.
Yeah, you're right, and it's so hard to find that, and they've got it because you're right. Like if they're on the card, even if it's people that hate them, they're going to be there because they're going to. Oh, the Heatseekers there. We got to go to that. That's going to be a good match. Right. They know that. And yeah, I can't wait to see where this thing goes from here, and I can't wait for June 3rd, honestly, because I'm really looking forward to that match.
Yeah, I mean, there's just look at all the titles that are involved right now with these guys. I mean, it's like every company within 200 miles of us, it seems like their tag team rivalry, their belt rivalry is this match. So you can't say enough about number one, the workers that all four of these guys are. And the other thing is, too, just the work they're putting in. And it's not like these guys are wrestling each other all the time and going out and phoning it in. I mean, they are doing all sorts of different things in these matches. When you see one match, you've not seen them all between these two. And that's something that's important.
Oh, yeah, very important. And I will let this, from what I understand, and we could be wrong, but this is just what I've heard, like going through the rumor mill. There's a good chance that match coming up at Miracle on the Mountain, they're calling it all the grilled cheeses matches. All the belts on the line. PWX tag titles, NWA US titles, and the Heatseekers who currently hold the WVCW tag titles.
Wow.
All those belts on the line in one match.
Wow.
All the grilled cheeses.
You don't want to miss that?
No.
You don't want to miss that. So, anyway, be in Bluefield on June 3rd. If you can't be there, find a show somewhere where these teams are working each other. You are not going to be disappointed. Whatever that company's charging to get in, it's worth the price of admission itself. I can assure you of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Next news item. Pace Magazine.
Yeah, one of these, Paste is one of these entertainment-type magazines, the way I understand it. Yeah.
They have released a list, a top 10 list of their picks for for so far this year, for 2017, their top 10 tag teams.
Now, we need to preface this as we're going to talk about their list here and kind of tell you if we agree or disagree. But remember, we're just talking about so far in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So, don't think about last year and things that happened then. But, from January to now, the first 5 months in the year, who have been the best tag teams? Or I guess the better way to put it would be who've had the best years, 5 months so far. Yeah.
Well, I know 3 glaring things that I've got a problem with on this list, but
Okay.
I'll get into it as we go.
Okay, all right.
Number 10. The Carnies. That's Nick Iggy and Kerry Awful. These guys, I'm a big fan of the Carnies. I think they're a team that's really starting to catch a buzz. I think they've recently did a few things with Ring of Honor, just like kind of getting their foot in the door there.
Right.
But they are definitely part of what this movement we're seeing in the indies of these guys that are just working their way all across the country, anywhere they can get on a show. And they're doing something really unique. So I like the Carnies, and I thought it was really cool to see them make this list.
Yeah, I don't. I told you I'm not real familiar with the Carnies, but as I have been hearing a lot of buzz about them,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm going to look them up and check them out. I like the pictures and things I saw of them associated with this. I thought they had a good look, a different look, and I thought that was a good thing. So good for them.
Yeah. Like I said, I love them, and I'm glad to see them coming. Number 9, I'm going to admit, much like you said you wasn't super familiar with. When I looked at this list, I wasn't familiar with this team. CCK. CCK, apparently it's sometimes a trio, sometimes a tag. Chris Brooks, Kid Lycos, and Travis Banks.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar. Now, I know you are somewhat familiar with, I think you said Travis Banks.
Yes, right.
So what can you tell me about these guys?
Well, I don't know. Again, I've heard a lot about them. I read some things. I think that they actually just got involved with Progress, a company I'm a huge fan of in the UK. So glad to hear that. I know that Travis Banks also works with TK Cooper in the South Pacific Power Trip,
which I keep hearing huge buzz about.
Fantastic tag team. Had the pleasure of seeing them in Orlando, and if this team, and with him being involved, I assume these other guys are at that same work level, and if so, I have no doubts of why this team has probably made their top 10 so far this year. So check out all these teams, guys. The CCK, the South Pacific Power Trip. Find some stuff from them, check them out. Now, I'll tell you one thing real quick. The South Pacific Power Trip, I've tried to find some things online and have been hitting some hurdles. So if you find stuff from them, shoot it my way. Would love to talk about it and review it here on the show.
And I'd love to check them out myself.
Absolutely.
So, because I keep hearing the buzz.
Yeah, let us know.
Number 8, RPG, Roppongi Vice.
Roppongi Vice.
I think it's really cool that they was included here. Arson brother Matt, he always says he thinks that Rocky Romero may be the most underrated wrestler in the world. I don't know if he's the most underrated in the world. He's definitely underrated, I think. And I think Roppongi Vice is a really cool team. They've had a good year. That match at the Tokyo Dome with the Bucks, where they beat the Bucks for the belts, that was a good one. It was
a fluke.
It was a fluke.
Total fluke.
But and I like Roppongi Vice. I think it's neither here nor there. They're a tag team. I'm not even going to get into that and who I like better, who I don't. It don't matter. They're a tag team. But Roppongi Vice, I like them, and I think it's cool that they're on this list, and it's cool to see another New Japan team getting some love. So
I like Roppongi Vice. I don't love Roppongi Vice. I think they're a great team, solid workers. They just, I don't know, just from what I think they're a very good tag team. Don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from it. They better than that Tanahashi guy, but I just don't know. I don't know, something about them just doesn't pop off to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like something's missing when I'm watching them. I don't know what it is. I do think they're a good tag team. I think both guys are talented workers, and it's nothing like that. It's just, I don't know, just something about them just don't jump to me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Me. Well, here's the way I feel about it. Looking at this list. There's a couple of people that I feel like are omitted from this list that should have been on it, and that's one of the teams I maybe would have not had on the top 10 in replacing one of those. So that's.
But I will say though, they have had a good first 5 months in 2017. Now, so I can see why this group would see them as being in that light. But I'm with you; they're people I would have put ahead. But, yeah.
All right, number 7, representing Catchpoint out of Evolve, Chris Dickinson and Jaka. I don't know what else to say about these guys. They're both very physical,
fantastic,
great guys. Great workers. I don't know if they're great guys. I've never met them personally, Jason Kincaid's back may tell you that
there's something different
that
about
Chris
that.
Dickinson's not a great guy. No, that we saw over Evolve Weekend when he almost destroyed Jason with that Razor's Edge into the ringside. But no, these guys definitely one of the. I guess I mean I don't know. I'm going to say it again. The Evolve. When I think of Evolve, I think more of singles guys than I do tag teams. I don't think of Evolve as having a super strong tag team division. Not that I'm disparaging anybody there. I'm just saying I don't think they put as much focus on the tag division there. I may have flip-flopped Catch Point for another team that does a lot of work in Evolve. And this is the first one I'll go ahead and mention is OI4K.
Yeah.
I think the Chris brothers or Sammy, any combination of them, to me, I would have had them in place of Catch Point there with Jocka and Dickinson. Nothing against Jocka and Dickinson. I just think I like the Chris a little bit better.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I agree with that. But I do think they are a very solid team. And one thing that's interesting about Catch Point is there's 2 tag teams in Catch Point, and they'll actually feud with each other and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because Fred, Yeehaw, and I'm sorry that other guy's name is slipping my mind, but that they were tag team champions in Evolve.
Yeah.
And I know that actually the last thing I saw, they were actually setting up a tag team rivalry between these 4 stable mates. So that's something different you don't see a lot in wrestling.
You're right.
So that's kind of cool. But these guys are, Chris and Jocka, are a fantastic team.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Jeff, there's some other people I may have put ahead of them. Mm-hmm. But still, great tag team. And if you haven't seen them work, check them out. 2 bigger guys who can really, really work. So, fantastic team.
Number 6 on the list are ranked way too low, in my opinion. But current IWGP Tag Team Champions, War Machine, who we just got the chance to witness again tear the house down this past Friday night at the Ring of Honor War of the Worlds show. War Machine, Hanson and Rowe, they're everything that I feel like tag team wrestling should be, and I love them. Every week I feel like they rise higher and higher on my list of favorite things in wrestling. So,
well, this just proves what you and I've been saying for a few weeks now, is they're underrated.
They're underrated on this list.
Yeah, really underrated.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have them probably in the top 3 or
easily
4 at least.
Yeah,
Now, again, the higher we go, the competition gets a lot stiffer.
It does.
But I would have had them higher than this. They just deserve it. One of the best teams in the world. Okay, maybe top 5, if not top 3 or 4, easy. Just talent wise. If you didn't see War of the Worlds, we're going to hit you with some knowledge about that here at the end. Check it out because the match they had there, which was a triple threat. You know how I feel about triple threat. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that, but man, what a great match! And these guys have great matches with literally anybody.
They do. They do.
So they should be higher.
I think it was probably our second favorite match of the night.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
So
check out AB Reactions whenever it comes out. We have a whole show concerning War of the Worlds that I'm sure you'll be seeing soon.
Yeah. You get to hear Sean's opinions on Tanahashi. Yeah.
Oh,
Number 5, British Strong Style. Trent Seven and Tyler Bate. It's an interesting situation with British Strong Style.
It is.
Because if one company, which most of you are most familiar with in WWE, these guys are competing, whereas in other companies, they're a unit.
Yeah.
And, Trent Seven and Tyler Bate, these guys are amazing. Amazing. Just some of the coolest stuff happening in wrestling, period, right now. And I've not watched enough of their stuff outside of WWE to completely put them ahead of like a War Machine. But I feel like if I had watched as much of their stuff as a team, I probably would have maybe a little bit easier time putting them there. I don't know.
Well, they are the Progress Tag Team Champions, I do believe. I think they still are.
Okay.
The last I saw. And they're so good. I mean, they're so good. I had the privilege of seeing these guys down in Orlando, too. And one thing that I think is really cool is at the Progress show, when the British Strong Style guys, all 3 of them, Madden Pete Dunne, or Peter Dunne, as he's called, over in those British parts, that they are the young bucks of those shows. They have the longest lines, people in line waiting to get the merch, waiting to meet them, all that stuff, and super nice guys. Let's put that too. All 3 of them super nice. But yeah, just fantastic wrestlers. Like you said, I haven't watched a ton of their work as a tag team, but I can't imagine that I would say anything negative about it, because they're just such great workers, and what they do is fantastic in my opinion. And it's really cool what you mentioned too, the way they're they're able to manage. They almost have these two completely different gimmicks going.
Yeah.
In WWE,
Yeah.
they have like Tyler is this just white hot baby face, right? I mean,
Yeah.
just white, just is almost Americana is a bad word to use, but really, right?
Yeah, he's very American British.
But he is, right?
Yeah.
That like if you think of old school baby face, but then he's a heel in here working with these guys. So fantastic team. Good for them that they're up there on this list.
War Machine should be ahead of them though.
Probably.
Yeah,
probably.
All right, number 4. One of my favorite teams to watch in wrestling. They're ranked too high on this list.
I agree.
If we're going off accomplishments,
right?
But number 4, Team DIY, do it yourself.
Yeah.
And that's of course Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano.
Yeah.
If you go on just the quality of matches, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've had. I think I've said. If I haven't said it on here before, I think I have. The 2 out of 3 falls match with the Revival is my all-time favorite tag team wrestling match. Mm-hmm. They've had. I mean, even like the stuff at Takeover, the match with the Authors of Pain,
right?
And the Revival, like everything they've done has been great. But if we're going off of success, I don't know that I would quite put them ahead of War Machine, for instance. It's really bothering me that War Machine was ranked as low as them. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But and that's, like I said, I'm a huge DIY fan. One of my favorite things in NXT, but I still don't think they should have been ranked ahead of War Machine.
And if it makes you feel better, I agree with you. You know, and I love DIY. They're one of my top 5 tag teams as far as favorite goes.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, talent-wise. I mean, really, to me, if you're talking talent-wise and as much as I like them and War Machine are almost side by side. You know what I mean? Like, I love both of those teams that much.
Yeah.
But, as far as accomplishments, like right now, War Machine's the IWGP tag champions.
Exactly.
Like they should be higher than that. But DIY is great. I think if we were talking like, say, a 2016 review, DIY might have been a little higher than War Machine. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
I mean, just look on based on.
If we're going on 2017 so far,
not
right.
But if we're talking about like the last, because I wonder sometimes if they kept. That's why I said that little disclaimer in the beginning. What if they kept that in mind here? You know what I mean? That we're just talking about. So anyway, but I agree. But still, great tag team by far.
All right, number 3.
A team that should be a little lower, but I'll tell you why in a minute.
The Revival.
Yeah, the Revival.
The best tag team in the world, the Revival, are ranked at number 3. They show up on the main roster. Their first 2 weeks, beat the New Day 2 weeks in a row. Clean as a whistle. They come off of an amazing run in NXT. I don't know.
But we are talking 2017.
I know where he's going with this.
And this is a what have you done for me lately business, right?
Yeah.
Where they been?
My man's got his jaw wired.
Right,
shut.
And I'm not hating on that.
Right.
I I love the Revival. I'm not hating on that. I'm just saying, ain't been around. Were they? And I don't. And you probably remember better than I do. Did they hold the NXT tag titles in 2017 at all? I don't think they did.
No, they didn't.
See,
you're right.
See, I would say War Machine should be above the Revival. I honestly would say that because they, I don't think they've held gold in 2017. They haven't. They actually kind of cool, and I know why they did it. In NXT, they kind of cooled them off a little bit before coming up because they were getting ready to leave to go to the main roster. Right now, that they had, in my opinion, the match of WrestleMania weekend in NXT. Okay, that's great, but I don't think that because that's really the only program they've worked in 2017.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that is enough to put you at number 3 if you're talking about a list of tag team accomplishments. Who's had the best 2017 so far? Now that's not to say we know when they come back. We hear July, they're going to set the world on fire. We know that. But so maybe the second half of 2017 they'll be in the top 2 or something.
It pains me to say this, but you're right. By my criteria and why I was upset with War Machine's ranking, even though Revival's my favorite tag team, I can't get upset. The Revival are probably ranked a little higher than they should be because you're right. I didn't even think about their last half of the year in NXT, they were kind of kept on the back burner. I mean, they would do like a run in and jump somebody or what have you. But as far as tag team success and tag team gold, you're right. Like, they haven't had that accomplishment so far this year.
They'll give it time.
The injuries, so you're right. I can't argue.
And that's
point.
not faulting Nash at all in his injury. That's not what we're saying. We're saying, why aren't the Revolt on here?
Why isn't Urban Death Squad?
Oh, dude. This list ain't ready for that.
No. All right. Number 2 on the list.
And I'm hot about this.
These guys.
You know I'm ready.
These guys had the match of the night at War of the Worlds a few nights ago.
And every night.
And that would be the Brothers Jackson, Generation Me.
The world famous Jackson Brothers.
And that would be the Young Bucks. Got them ranked at number 2. Sweet.
The sons of my favorite Twitter follower, Mr. Macy.
Yeah, are you gonna tag him in this?
Oh yeah, because here's the deal. Okay, I get it, and we'll tell you who number 1 is in a minute. And number 1's had a pretty good year, but they need to retire and get out of my face. Look, these guys. Okay, at one time this year, they held the IWGP Junior Tag Titles, the ROH Tag Titles, and the PWG Tag Titles, all at the same time.
Yeah.
All at the same time. Now, these gimmick promoters out here had them lose them all in a row because, you know why? Because they had to build them right back up. Okay? So it's just like this crap that Vince does going into WrestleMania season when you tear down your best workers and then you have to build them back up afterward. That's what happens. So what happened? They take all the belts off of them just because, so on being the elite, they can have some really cool stuff with them looking all upset about losing all their belts. But now what's happened? They're already, once again, the ROH Tag Champions. We both know they will soon be the IWGP Junior Tag Champions again because that's the cycle that it works.
They'll be junior.
Oh, they'll have, yeah, they could end up being being the team that takes down War Machine. I'm gonna call that now, because you and I've seen the Bucks and War Machine do some really crazy stuff together.
Oh yeah, we have.
But they'll have those belts back before you know it. And the Lucha Brothers, they may end up having the belts off now eventually from PWG. Who knows? But what I'm saying is, you have all that gold, you have all that success, you have one of the hottest feuds going into WrestleMania season, and you're aren't the team that had the best year so far?
Well,
I don't get it.
The number 1 team would have an argument there because the team that you talk about having that hottest feud going into WrestleMania season, a team that in 2017, late 2016 all the way into 2017, completely reinvented themselves. They went
God
from
knows they needed it.
Team Extreme to, they found that they were broken, so to speak. And, of course, number 1 on this list, they've got the Hardy Boys. And I can't really argue with it because if you look at successes, they've completely reinvented themselves. They're tripped through the galaxy, winning tag belts everywhere. And having the TNA belts, which they melted down.
They needed it.
Yeah. And then those ROH belts, winning those. And then having that match the night before WrestleMania with the Hardys, with the Young Bucks. I'm sorry, and that was amazing. And then debuting at WrestleMania to one of the biggest pops we've heard in years.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, no longer broken at the moment. But that debut, seeing the crowd go insane, winning that ladder match, and still the tag champs. And I would even argue the last pay-per-view, which I can't even remember the name of it. Was it Fastlane, Backtrack, something? That great. What was it?
Great Balls of Fire.
Whatever the pay-per-view was called.
Knows?
The match, my favorite match of that show was actually the Hardy Boys and Cesaro and Sheamus. So I don't know. I can't argue that they're number 1. It's really a toss-up. I think right there, the Young Bucks and the Hardys should be.
I guess, but based on what you're talking about, it is a toss-up. Because I can see it. I just really don't like the Hardys. That's my problem. I'm going to tell you right now. I mean, nobody over the age of 15 likes the Hardys and this Team Extreme crap.
No, I don't like this gimmick either.
Unless you're just living on nostalgia or something or crazy. I don't know. I just, WWE needs to break them. They need to be
has to
broken
happen.
because it's breaking my brain having to watch this crap that I dealt with as a teenager. I can't believe I'm sitting here watching Matt and Jeff Hardy again, doing their whole thing. But I do think it can be a toss-up between the two. I think the Bucks have just as good of a claim. But I guess if you're talking means of WWE used to be the biggest company in the world and they're champions there now. I mean, I can see that. If I'm being unbiased, but my disdain for this whole Team Extreme thing, I think kind of fogs my view a little bit, and I'll be honest about that. So there you go.
My biggest problem with this list.
What's that?
There's two teams that didn't make this list that we just spoke about.
I agree.
The Ugly Ducklings. You were talking about all the gold.
Yeah.
What about all the gold the Ugly Ducklings are packing
I know.
around? I mean, we didn't even mention like those Rockstar, these guys have got so many tag titles.
Yes.
Why are they not on this list?
Right.
They've literally set the independent scene on fire this year.
That's right.
And they're not on here. And the Heatseekers. Come on. Like, that's my biggest problem with the list, is that those two teams are not on here. They should be easily in this top 10.
Oh, I would probably have both those. I mean, I can easily on my head top 5, but I'd have to look at it and really go through a range.
Right.
But I mean, there definitely should be on there. No questions about it. But there you go. There's their list. There's what we think.
Yeah.
You can find this list again, Paste Magazine, and they have an explanation for each team that they put and why they put them there and all that sort of thing. One thing I thought was interesting. Isn't it amazing what a few months will do? And I don't disagree that they probably shouldn't be on there, but the New Day may have had they had one of the best 2016s that we've ever seen, and now that we're in a new year, it's just went away.
You know? I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Is it strange that they still haven't appeared on SmackDown? Other than like those little like...
Well, Kofi's injured, so we know that.
Right, but like Biggie and Xavier...
Yeah, Xavier may have something to do with that too. Maybe.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway, still, shout out to those guys.
Yeah.
All
So that was our news segment. Now we're going to roll into what we like to call our talking point segment. And that's we've asked people, what's some stuff you'd like to hear us talk about? And Sean, Waldo here, keeping the diligent list, we're going to just start pulling from that list. Like every episode, we're going to pull a question and just kind of talk about it. The one that he pulled this week was, somebody wanted us to talk about the Road Warriors.
And now, let me say, I've been asked about this one several times because the Road Warriors are a very popular tag team in the history of professional wrestling, and probably rightfully so. Now, Jeff, you told me before we went on the air that you've had some opinions here to share about the Road Warriors. So jump into it. Chat me up about the Road Warriors.
All right. I guess the one thing I would think about with the Road Warriors, even as a kid growing up, I grew up in the 80s when the rock and wrestling connection blew up and wrestling became so huge. And that's what pulled me in as a fan. And I never left. But I think the one thing I always think about with the Road Warriors, when you think about the mega boom of wrestling in the 80s with Hogan and the rock and wrestling connection, I think that is what most people think about when they think about the rock and wrestling connection in particular. I think the Road Warriors were just as much a part of the rock and wrestling connection. That entrance was so rock and roll, coming out to Black Sabbath, Iron Man, shoulder pads, face paint, spikes, mohawks. They were such a connection between rock and wrestling. If you look at 5 years before that, there was nobody doing anything like that.
Right.
And I think, I remember as a kid growing up, whenever you would even see, bootleg representations of wrestling, like in a video game, you would always have your guy that was the big muscled up blonde surfer, like Hulk Hogan type, but you always had those makeup, that. You always had the guys that you knew were that game or that toy's version of the Road Warriors. So I think that's the one thing that really sticks out in my head about the Road Warriors, is I think they really define a big part of what I think the 80s wrestling boom was. And I think it's kind of overlooked. I mean, not that I'm saying the Road Warriors are overlooked, because they're not. But I think that importance to that whole boom of wrestling in the 80s is kind of overlooked with the Road Warriors.
I'll pick you back on that just a little bit, because Jeff's a little bit older than I am, not much, but a little bit. So I started watching wrestling when I was about 6. So we're talking 1990. Okay. And at that time, I remember when I started watching it, but again, with the we grew up in the same area, limited access to TV.
Right.
WWF was about what you could get. So my first experience with the Road Warriors were really as the Legion of Doom, because that was around the time they were coming over to the WWF.
Right.
And I remember, even though I wasn't really familiar with them, I knew who they were.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Even just being a kid, just started watching, it's like, oh yeah, that's that, the Road
Right.
Warriors, right?
Right.
I knew that. I mean, even, being a young kid. So yeah, they were an iconic figure in that era. And I do think they are just as important to that boom of wrestling. I mean, I think they are. I think, the Midnights and Rock and Roll are, all those guys. But the Road Warriors, yeah, hugely popular. Hugely.
Mm-hmm.
You're just so over everywhere they went. I was getting ready for this. I went back and watched the documentary of the DVD that the WWE did on them a few years ago, right after Hulk died.
Right.
And they were talking about how popular they were and how they started out, they were bad guys, but it just got to the point they couldn't be bad guys because the fans loved them so much. So that was one of the first times that we saw the fans sort of dictating that kind of thing.
Yeah, the cool heels.
The cool heels.
The cool
exactly.
heels.
Yeah. So Jeff, what are you have any favorite Road Warrior memories, matches, anything like that?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing, I thought about this because I knew we were going to be talking about this tonight. And my favorite Road Warriors matches are the Road Warriors against no one you've ever heard of.
Okay.
Because my favorite Road Warriors matches usually were them coming in and destroying enhancement talent. And they were so brutal with some of it, man. Like, sometimes I would watch it and I was like, I think they literally told them before they went to the curtain, do anything just short of murder.
Yeah.
To get yourselves over, kids. And that's one of my favorite memories. I've got two more I want to throw out. The other one is the infamous time that they blinded Dusty Rhodes with the spike from the shoulder pads.
Yep.
Never forget that. That was like one of those things where, and I thought I was still at an age where everything I saw on that screen was very real to me.
And that very moment, something they talked about on the DVD about how that Dusty Rhodes, hugely mega babyface, and they were getting cheered.
Yeah,
and it's like, and so they were talking about, Animal was talking about they didn't know what to do because they're blinded, this super babyface.
Oh yeah,
and they're getting cheered.
Yeah,
so yeah.
But I thought that was actually what I was seeing.
Right.
And I can remember going to school and being in the lunch line talking with my friends, and like us being genuinely concerned for Dusty's eye. And that stuck with me.
Right.
And last but not least, I have to throw out, of course, the scaffold match.
Oh, yeah.
With the Midnight Express.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was such a crazy concept to me, growing up seeing about that in the after mags, and then actually getting to see the footage of it. And like that just, I couldn't even believe such a thing was even happening. So that's really what stands out to me. What about you? Anything you want to throw out?
Scaffold match for sure. And don't you find it interesting that Mr. Cornette is on the internet these days talking about people doing crazy things? And old Jimmy Boy himself jumped or fell or flung or whatever he did off the scaffold and broke his foot.
Oh yeah,
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's almost like he's working at it.
Who would ever get on the internet and work?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go figure. But anyway, I love the Road Warriors. Was a big fan as a kid. They were probably, when I was really young, my favorite tag team. I thought they were so cool with the spikes and with all that. Some of the things I remember, it's just odd the things you remember as a kid. I remember at WrestleMania 7, they went out and squashed somebody on a WrestleMania. I don't even remember who the team was. It was like either the Nasty Boys or maybe Power and Glory. I'm thinking it was Power and Glory.
I think it was Power and Glory.
I'd have to go back and look because they won the tag titles from the WWF tag titles from the Nasty Boys. But one of my favorite moments of all time, and it's not a match, but was one of my favorite entrances ever. You probably know where I'm going. London, England, SummerSlam. Them riding those Harleys to the ring with the golden. That looked like the coolest thing I had ever seen in my life. And by that time, Ellering was with them in WWE, and I don't know why he had that little puppet with him. It had Vince written all over it.
But that was a Vince thing.
He had the Rocco. He had him strapped to the front of his bike. But then they rode to the ring. But an interesting fact about that match that I had forgotten about is Animal actually getting Hawk evidently had been enjoying himself before the match, doing those kind of things that Hawk did.
Yeah.
And when they pulled their bikes up to the ring, Animal, he parked too close to Animal. So, because when you lean your bike over, you get off. Animal couldn't get off on the side that you're supposed to get off on. Got off to the other, burnt his tights, and they like glued to his leg, like the tights burned.
Oh,
so
Lord.
Animal worked that match that way.
That's horrible.
Now, with that said, it still was a really good match. They were against Money Inc. But the really sad thing about that is that was sort of the end of their run with WWF at that time, because that's when Hawk would kind of AWOL afterward, and but then of course both of them, we saw both of them work in singles before, because of these little riffs that they would have when Hawk was doing his thing. But there was nothing like the magic they had together.
No.
I mean, they seemed like they were guys that came and said they were going to beat you up, and you believed they could do it.
Oh yeah.
Because and I thought they probably could do it.
Oh yeah.
Super tough guys. And we also forget too, if you ever go back and watch some of their stuff, they were really good workers.
Oh yeah,
Excellent workers.
I honestly think, that in particular, as a kid growing up, I thought Animal was my dude because of the mohawk.
Yeah,
and he was the bigger.
Right.
But like, as I got older and became a little bit more refined in my wrestling taste, I think going back and watching like some of the stuff, like some of the matches, like even like Hawk had with like Ric Flair and stuff.
Yeah,
Hawk, he could have been a solo star too.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I'm glad he was, because I'm glad the Road Warriors is what we got, because it's such an important part of wrestling. But we love tag team wrestling. Oh, we wouldn't be doing this show.
Yeah, but so many iconic moments. Paul Ellering was a big part of what they did. I feel like I thought he was an excellent piece. He just seemed like kind of a out there bikerish kind of guy, and I thought he was a perfect compliment to them.
He was.
And,
he really was.
And what they did. So Super Tag was one of my favorites. If I were, one day maybe we'll do it. But if I were looking at my top, ever how many 5 or 10 tag teams of all time, I'm sure they'd be in there. Well, the first 5 would be like the Young Bucks, the Jackson Brothers, Generation Me. But that the Road Warriors certainly would be in there. Great tag team. And if you guys have a lot of people have asked me, if you have some Road Warrior memories you want to share, things you'd like for us to check out and talk about at some point, post them either
please.
Comment on Facebook, comment here on YouTube, wherever you got to do it. Comment and let us know. We'd be glad to check out if there's a certain match. We'll watch it, tell you what we think about it, that sort of thing. But yeah, by far great. They were up there, in the '80s with the Horsemen and all those guys in the NWA,
absolutely.
and just as big a part of it as those guys were, for sure.
All right, guys. So that's our final word. Well, not final, but our final word for the night on the Road Warriors.
There you go.
And so, the consensus is we totally dig them.
Yeah,
but
great stuff.
we want to let you know, Hot Tag's going to be on the road. We're coming up. If you want to catch us live and in person, your next chance is going to be, like we mentioned earlier, June the 3rd at the Bluefield Auditorium. Come see us at WVCW, Miracle on the Mountain 7. Who's headlining that show?
That show is headlined by Tag Team Wrestling, and there will be the tag team. I can't wait to see them. Huge names, John Schuyler and Chase Owens. Owens of the Young Bucks. Mm-hmm. John Schuyler, from NXT. Top Prospect Tournament, that's right. They'll be headlining and hopefully jobbing some guys out, so we'll see what happens there. And also, don't forget that the Heatseekers and the Ugly Ducklings will be in action.
Duckhouse Brawl. If you want a little bit more awesome tag team action, don't forget we're going to get what's possibly going to become our favorite tag team of all time, George South and Brutal Bob Evans teaming up.
And I think it's going to be a 6-man, right?
Yeah, I think Tim Hughes. I think Tough Guy Inc.
It's going to be a great
match. It's basically
match.
Tough Guy Inc. plus George South.
Let me tell you something. Y'all know I talk a lot about the Young Bucks, but if Bob Evans and George South is on a team for that moment in time, every how long that match is, that's my favorite tag team on the planet. I love them, and I'd take them over anybody in the world.
Absolutely.
Follow those guys on Facebook. But don't forget that. Then all summer long, you'll have chances to come see us. We're going to be on the road some different places. We're hoping to get down in North Carolina, see some of our good friends at PWX. Evolve. They're doing a joint show. We're going to try to get down to it. The end of July, Ring of Honor is going to be down there. It's going to take something for us to miss a Ring of Honor show if it's in driving distance. So come see it. Come see us. We'd love to talk to you.
If you see us at the show, come talk to us.
Yeah.
Get a picture with us. We'd like to get a picture with you, but we'll try to throw them up on the website.
One other thing, Miracle on the Mountain. Hopefully, we will be going live on Facebook. Hot Tag will be coming at you live on Facebook. Probably not a normal, lengthy show, but we're going to be doing some things, and hopefully we're going to have some giveaways, some tag team related giveaways. So no, I didn't get that approved because I do whatever I want. So there you go. But Hot Tag will be coming at you from that show too.
So All right, before we leave you, we always like to roll out something for you to watch this week or these next few weeks until we get back to you. This week, I think we've got one match in particular we wanted to roll out from War of the World.
I say throw two at them.
You want to throw? We'll throw them both out.
They're two at you.
All right, this is your homework. If you're watching this is your homework. Go check out both of these matches. I'll grab this one. The first one is, of course, War Machine defending the belts in a three-way match against. It was Jonathan Gresham, and Chris Sabin, and from Los Ingobernables, Evil and Sonata. And this match was awesome, off the chains. I felt like everyone just performed. Go listen to their recap on it's going to be up in a day or so. Go listen to our recap of this show on the Arson Brothers Rewind. And what's the other match?
The other match was Match of the Night, and that was the consensus of all three of us that watched, and that's the Young Bucks and who they were? Naito and some other guy.
Bushi. That was an awesome match.
Great, awesome match. Both those matches are fantastic and sort of different styles.
Yeah.
Completely different styles in a way, but still really great matches. You can see why all 5 of the teams involved are fantastic teams, so check those out for sure.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we want to thank you so much for joining us. This has been an awesome, fun show tonight. We love talking with you guys every time we get a chance. If you're watching this and you like what you saw, and of course you did, click the subscribe button down there because we need you to know every time that something new comes up on the Arson Brothers Network. Not just us, but there's a lot of there's West Virginia Eats. There's the Shoot series that Size is doing, Good Brother Size, Wrestling Recap. You're going to want to see it all, so be sure and click that subscribe button. That's the only way to guarantee that you get all of the Arson Brothers content. And how can they find the Arson Brothers, and in particular Hot Tag, on the internet?
Well, first of all, go like everything Arson Brothers. Check out the Arson Brothers on Facebook, Twitter, I think Snapchat, everything Arson Brothers, because this is Arson Brothers Present Hot Tag.
Yeah.
You can find me on Facebook at, of course, just Sean Allen. Then everything else, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, at Professor Waldo. That's at Professor_Waldo. Jeff, what about you?
You can find me at Facebook, Jeff Griffith. That's probably going to be your best way to find me, because that's mostly where I'm at. Otherwise, Jeff from WV on Instagram and Twitter, and Blast Tyrant on Snapchat. So hook us up, add us. We love to communicate with you. Just send us any questions you have, any suggestions, anything you want to hear us talk about. In the meantime, we just want to say thank you for joining us. We appreciate all the positive feedback, and we're going to keep it coming to you. Until next time,
Arson Brothers Present Hot Tag. We're out.